Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be installing the Tarot 2D Gimbal. This was shipped from China and is going on this F550. This is actually a friend of mine's F550, it's not mine. It's the friend that actually bought the DJI 2D H3 Gimbal, and I actually used this gimbal in the installation video that I've put up about 4 videos back to show people how to install these. Unfortunately, this gimbal is one of the ones that seems to be defective. Kept shutting down on him, and he needs it. So it's very frustrating when you're out at the field and this thing basically kept on juddering and just stopping, and it wouldn't initiate and start working. So yeah, unfortunately DJI seems to have a high failure rate with the small gimbal at the moment. I don't know why. They're not addressing it at the moment, not telling anyone why or how to fix it, just saying, well, update your machines, but still people are having problems and having to send them back. It seems to be almost 1 in 5 from what I can figure out, people having problems. So Dave's gone out and bought the Tarot Gimbal for the GoPro, and I'm going to install it now. So let's get ahead and start installing. I haven't done one of these before, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to take these very small plastic pieces here from the kit, and I'm going to put these on the main control board. I'm going to actually fit these on the side where you've got these prongs sticking up here for servos. I'm going to screw through the back and put them on there. Okay, so that's all our plastic spacers now screwed in with the Phillips screws straight onto the top of the board with these spikes here. Okay, so our next step is to actually put some spacers on this board. You'll see you've got 2 boards. This one's got 2 rectangular holes cut in it, and then you have this other one here with this large circle, and you've got these 3 circles here. We're not going to use that one yet, so use the one with the 2 rectangle holes in it. Hold it in this orientation so you've got the small hole at the bottom. This is where the main board here is going to go onto the bottom here, and those prongs are going to come through. We're going to use our larger spacers. These are much larger than the ones that we just put on the main control board, and about 4 times bigger, so you can't mix them up. We're going to use the Allen key screws that are in the pack. Now you've got 2 different ones. You've got a long one and a short one. We're going to use the short ones to put these posts on. So hold it in this orientation where you have the small rectangle at the bottom. Feed the screw through the hole, and put your spacer on. And do that with all your spacers. Okay, so there we have it. We've got the 2 prongs at the front and then 3 at the back. You have the 4 holes left for your main control board screws. Okay, so our next step is to now mount the main board onto this piece here. So as I said, you've got these servo prongs here which are going to go through the hole like so. Then we're going to take our very small Phillips screws, the same ones we used to put these spacers on, and you're going to screw this screw through here and onto the spacer here. Okay, so that's 2 screws in there, 1, 2, see the main board in, just need to put the other 2 in as well. Now what I'm finding is, as I'm screwing this, the spacer here is actually spinning around, so I'm going to grab that with a pair of pliers and screw it in nice and tight, like so. There we go, now we have the main board screwed onto the plate. Okay, our next step is to start putting the isolation mounts on here. These will stop the vibrations. They do feel very soft. I'm not sure if they're meant to be that soft, but yeah, just fit them onto the arms, or onto this plate, like so. Make sure the top piece spreads out nicely. Okay, let's now add this onto this plate like this. Just push them through in the same fashion. Now, as I was saying, if one of these isolation mounts were to fail and it was popped out, then this part would fall down. So I'm going to put these zip ties on here. This will prevent that from happening if it does pop out. The way this is actually designed, it shouldn't really do that, but it's always good to have an extra fail safe, especially when you're flying over people's property. And not only that, you don't want your GoPro falling out and smashing. So just an extra fail safe on there. Okay, so now let's mount our motors onto the plates here. The board is going to be at the back, so have your roll pitch motor at the front here, and we're going to feed this through the hole up onto the top plate here, where you'll put 2 screws in. Now the screws are already screwed into the top of the gimbal here. I've just unscrewed them, and now I'm going to screw through the plate and into the gimbal arm itself. Okay, so we now have that fitted. So that fits our camera plate on here. There's already a screw here. I think it's the same size, we'll just double check. No, it's actually smaller. I think this was around a 2mm Allen key, and the next one's going to be smaller, so let me get an Allen key for that. Now on this motor, you'll see there's a flat spot, and that's what you're going to screw this screw onto. Sorry, this screw here. Okay, so let's start plugging cables in. We've got our roll motor here, and we've got the cable coming out of it. This is going to plug into this left hand side socket here, and then we're going to get our pitch cable, which is here, and that's going to go up onto the right hand side. Like so. We have our power cable here, which will go to a 3-cell LiPo, and you have your other cable here going down onto your board, which tells everyone what the gimbal's actually doing. Okay, so that's all built now. Just got to put our power cable to a 3-cell. Put the little hooks on here. These actually won't fit on this landing gear set, so I'll have to fit it on here somehow, and then we'll put a GoPro in it and power it up and let it initialize for the first time, and we'll see what happens. Always make sure you got a GoPro in there when you turn it on. You don't want to be turning it on while it's got none in there, because that's going to stress out your roll motor on the back there. It's not meant to take the strain of trying to lift the pitch motor. It's supposed to be counterbalanced with the GoPro, so don't turn it on unless you got a camera actually in there. Okay, so I've just slid this onto the poles that you see here. They're not actually holding it on as solid as I'd like. They're just on there for this demonstration. So let's put a GoPro in this mount now and power it up off of a 3-cell. That's a very nice tight fit, that. Okay, let's put these screws through the back. I think these are actually small. Okay, when you're screwing the GoPro clamp on, put both of the screws in first. Don't put one screw in and screw it up tight, because it'll make this off center. So put them both in at the same time and then tighten them up. Okay, so I'm going to power this up for the first time now. We're going to use this 2.2 3-cell. Let's see what happens with the gimbal. Okay, powering on for the first time now. This is on. And then there it seems to be initialized and leveling. Seems to be very quiet, I can't hear much noise from it. I'll just get the microphone so you can see, or hear even. You can see that's actually tilting. So I just noticed that I actually made a mistake when I was putting this top plate on. I actually put it on upside down, which meant this hole was on this side and I wasn't able to actually get to these pins here, which I will need to access for the pitch and roll. So make sure you put this top board on correctly with this hole in this position so you can actually access these pins to plug servo cables into. But it wasn't too big a job. All I had to do was unscrew it off the mount and swap it around. So I'll just screw this back on now. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how you can manually tilt the gimbal, so as you fly over something maybe you can look directly down at it. To do this you're going to use the pins that are on the top here. I'll just zoom in so you can see. Now they're all labelled CTR, S plus and minus, and P plus and minus. So what you'll need to do is get the cable that comes with the kit. You need this one. It's got a single servo on one end and at the other end you've got 3. So first of all we'll take the white cable, which is this one. If I can zoom in on it, focus, there we go. And the white cable is actually going to go into the T on the board. So you got all those 6 pins there, sorry 9 pins, and we're going to plug this in down onto the T. Bear with me. Okay, it's a little bit hard to see, but the white pin is now down, plugged into the T. Now we're going to get the black pin and that's going to go onto the negative. There we go. You see the negative bottom right, and we're going to plug that in onto there. Just the black pin. We're not going to use the red cable. Okay, so we now have our black into the minus and our white into the T for tilt. So if we can get a better light in there for you. So now we've got this cable coming out. We haven't plugged the red in, and we have this cable coming out. Now this needs to go to your receiver. Unfortunately this is a little bit short for me to get to my receiver, so I'm going to use this extension, servo extension here. These are very cheap to buy, so I can just plug that servo cable directly into here and extend it. Okay, so here's our Spektrum receiver here, and you can see we've got the aux 3. That's the channel we're going to be using, and I've got my servo cable here. Sorry this is all a little bit hidden out the way, but you can see I'm not using the red. You don't have to use the red, or you don't want to use it in fact. I'm just using the black and the white. Now the black pin goes into the top port. Let's see if I can get you a better shot. There we go. Black pin goes into the top where it says aux 3, and then the white pin goes into the bottom, and no red pin in the middle. You leave that pin alone. And now when you toggle your DX8, okay, so we're all familiar with the DX8, and you have the aux 3 knob up on the top. So once I move this around now, the center will be stop, and then once you move it one way it'll start turning either up or down. The more you turn it, the faster it will actually point up or down, and to stop it, put it back in the middle, and vice versa, go that way to make it tilt up or down, and then stop. So this is proportional, so the more you turn that knob, the faster the gimbal will look up or down. So I'll just demonstrate this for you now. Let's power up our 550, and I'll put power to the gimbal here. I'll just move it so you can see when it actually initializes. Power to the gimbal is on. Just wait a second for it to come on. I can see it's starting to shake. I'm not sure why it does this, but if you touch it, it starts to level. So as I was saying, the aux channel on top of here, once I start moving this now, you can see it starts to point down, and if I put it back to the middle, it'll stop. If I go the other way, it comes back up, stop. So if I turn it just a little bit, it's actually panning down now very, very, very slowly. So to stop that, put it in the middle. If I want to pan down faster, I just turn the knob even more, and vice versa to bring it back up. So there's your control now for the gimbal, and it is all still stabilized. No matter which way you're looking, up or down, it will still do that. So let's take this outside and give it a test flight.